Welcome back to Nostalgianomics. We are live and we've got a spicy one today. I can't wait to get this all started. One of the big, I wouldn't say debates in the hobby, but definitely one of the things that I got probably hated on a lot for when my channel first started was even comparing Pokemon to the S&P or the stock market or mutual funds or really any other traditional accepted, respected investment was taboo. It was taboo, and if you did it, you kind of got ostracized for it. No one liked to hear that. It's been compared more and more as time goes on. And, there's a lot of opinions out there. A lot of people talk about, different ways to invest, the goods and bads of both. But I actually have all of the numbers, all of the data, and I just want to present it all to you so you can make the best decision for yourself on what to do with your money. Not a financial advisor, not financial advice, not a tax advisor, not tax advice. Make sure to consult with professionals. I'm just going to show you all the numbers so you actually have all of the information and you're not just taking a bunch of people's opinions on what they do or what has worked for them, what might work. This is what is actually happening because I'm just tired of seeing, Pokemon investing not really demonized, but kind of talked down on as not a respected form of investing. Look, it doesn't matter what you put your money in. If in the end it makes you a better return than somewhere else, it in fact was a better investment, no matter what anyone's opinion on the topic is. So I'm going to get into the chat later. I am going to literally go through all of this. So go ahead, take notes, take screenshots. You'll probably want to read this over later, but here's all the real numbers, okay? First off, Vanguard. Let me get my screen share up for this, actually. All right. So Vanguard's one of the biggest, all right, there we go. That's me. All right. Vanguard is one of the biggest investment firms out there. It's where a lot of people have their investments, their mutual funds. A lot of people also have them with, Fidelity or T. Rowe Price, some other places, but it doesn't matter because we're going to take what everyone likes to compare it to is a S&P 500 index fund. What that is, that tracks the S&P 500's returns. What we did was take a 10-year period, meaning over the course of the last 10 years, the S&P index has made you 11.87% a year. Now, a lot of people like to talk about Berkshire Hathaway. Oh, well, invest in Berkshire Hathaway. They beat the S&P 500. Not really, barely. So here's the last 10 years of Berkshire Hathaway and how it's performed. I actually did the math for you. Guess what? If you take 2014 to 2023, all right, take all those gains and losses and divide them by 10, you get 11.89%. So 11.89% compared to 11.87%, about the same rate. Now, modern Pokemon, which I feel started in XY. So XY was back, it was released base set in 2014 in February 5th. So about 10 years now. So we have a 10-year period in the S&P 500, a 10-year period in Berkshire Hathaway, and a 10-year period in Pokemon. This is all 100% apples to apples comparisons. Now, a lot of people want to talk about compounding interest. Don't worry, I'm way ahead of you. So what I did, okay, stick with me here. I'm in a spreadsheet of every single Pokemon box and specialty release of all of XY, Sun and Moon, and Sword and Shield. Okay? I took $90 price points for the booster boxes. I took $50 price points for the special release sets. And then like random things, I took whatever price they were released at. So like this Double Crisis blister pack, it was released at $20. The Detective Pikachu case file, it was $15. And then, there's little things like that. The only specialty set I put at $40 was Pokemon Go because I bought those at release or pre-release. You could get those at $40 a box. So I 100% remember that. Anyone could have done it. But everything else I kept fair. And then once we got the Sword and Shield era, I put every box at $100 to be even more fair. Obviously, you and I know you could have found these cheaper than $100. But I just wanted to be so fair on this that you couldn't come back at me and say anything after this video. Now, as far as the market price goes, these are all recent sales. And before you beat me up, yes, they are the better of the two recent sales, whether it be TCG Player or eBay, because if you're a smart seller, smart investor, you're going to sell into the market that has the best chance of making the most money. So I checked eBay and TCG Player, which had a better sale. I took it. Now, if it was eBay, look, I was fair. If it was like some crazy one-off sale, I didn't take it. I made sure it was a realistic price point. It was around where the other ones were selling. I was very on the up and up. And you can go check these. Go check TCG Player. Go check eBay recent sales. Not what they're listed at. Not what people are asking. This is what actually the market is paying. So this is what the market is paying for all of these boxes, ETBs, and special release products right now. And then the total profit would be obviously what it's selling for compared to what you paid for it. That would be the total profit. So over the last 10 years, if you would have bought one of every single product that released, guys, this is just one booster box or one ETB, you would have spent $3,745 over the past 10 years. That investment would now be worth $23,289 with a total profit of $19,544 or 522% returns. Now, a lot of the, people who are all about the S&P, the, Berkshire Hathaway, the stock market, 401ks, IRAs, all that, they always like to mention, well, there's compounding interest. There's company matches. I got you. Trust me, I didn't forget. Let's go check. All right, let's go check. First of all, here's a compounding interest calculator. I did the math for you again. If you were to divide out that what is the number? The $3,745, and you divided out that per month for 10 years, 120 months, you would get $31.21 a month. Okay. So if you were putting that into a monthly contribution into an S&P index, a 401k, a Berkshire Hathaway fund, you'd be putting $31.21 a month. Now, length of time, 10 years, average interest rate. Guess what? I rounded up. I rounded it up to 12%, even though it was 11.87 or 11.89. I did the stock guys a favor. I rounded up to 12%. And you know what? No interest rate variance, just 12% every single year, every single month. All right. Compounding monthly. Calculating, you would have $7,234 right now compared to $19,544 profit. You'd have a $23,289 total right now. Okay. Now everyone likes to say, Alex, there's fees, there's shipping. I got that covered too. I cover all my bases here. Shipping, if you take $10 each per item. Now, some items are going to be more, some are going to be less. It's a good range. $10 each per item. There's 46 items here, $460. 13% of the $23,289 sales you would make would be $3,027.57. So if you subtract that from the total profit that you made, right? Subtract the total fees and the total shipping, you have a grand total of $16,056.43 net profit after fees and shipping. Whereas your compounding interest fund has $7,000. Now I get it. Everyone's going to say, but there's company matches. I got you. I got it covered. Let's say your company matches 50% of your total contributions. So let me turn my phone off. My phone keeps going off. Let's say your company matches 50%. Okay. So you'd be putting in $46.81 a month. All right. Your company's putting 50%. You're putting the other 31 and change. Okay. So same thing. Initial investment, $46.81, monthly contribution, same length of time, same percentage rate. Calculate that. It still only comes out to $10,736. But wait, let's say your company matched you dollar for dollar, 100% of everything you put in. You'd be at $62.42, right? Double what 31.21 is. So 62.42, same 10 years, same 12% interest rate in the S&P index or the Berkshire Hathaway fund. Compounding monthly, you're still only left with $14,468 compared to Pokemon's $16,000. Pokemon outperforms the S&P, Berkshire Hathaway with compounding interest, with company match every step of the way. Those are the numbers. You can't contest it. You can talk about the future. I know we can talk about the boogeyman of the future. Pokemon is not going to keep performing that way, but the S&P and the mutual funds and Berkshire Hathaway, those are going to perform exactly the same way, but Pokemon won't. We can't talk about things that could or couldn't happen. This is what is happening. This is what has happened in the past 10 years. Now, to all the people saying, well, your 401k, there's tax advantages. Well, there's tax advantages, right? So you can put off your taxes, but you still pay your taxes. When you withdraw your 401k, it is taxed at ordinary income. So all you're doing is you're kicking the can down the road. When you take that money out eventually for retirement, You're still paying taxes. But wait, if you structure your business, your Pokemon business, the right way, and you use certain write-offs and things, you can actually greatly reduce your tax bill, if not eliminate your tax bill each year, to where you may not even pay any taxes on this profit. It all depends on how you structure your business. So I'm not going to get into the tax game. You can finagle the tax game every which way, this, your 401k. That I can't get in that discussion, have that discussion with a tax professional. However, everything else, the compounding interest, the 401k match, Pokemon has still beaten every step of the way traditional investing. But people still don't believe in it. We were told this wasn't going to last. When I was in certain online forums, I was watching YouTube channels when Evolutions was out, all during this time in Sun and Moon, people were saying the same things we're hearing now. This isn't going to work anymore. Too many people are doing it. Rudy's got a YouTube channel. SM Pratt's got a YouTube channel. Everyone knows the secret now. Everyone's stockpiling this stuff. And then more and more time went on. And then we got to the boom right in here, right? The big boom. Hidden Fates, Logan Paul. Now the secret's out. This won't work anymore. All this stuff's going to be worthless. And now it keeps going up again and again. I see Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles in the chat. Even Dan is now making content saying he's putting $100K into sealed investing. Whereas before, Dan, your rhetoric was, I'd much rather invest in inventory where I could constantly be in and out and cash flow and flip and flip and flip and make more money. But now it seems like you're starting to understand sealed investing is where the gains are. Look, these are all the real data, people. Like, this is the stuff that other people won't show you. These are all of the actual returns you can expect, right? This is the S&P. This is Berkshire Hathaway. This is what compounding interest looks like, all right? Everyone talks about it like it's some pie in the sky thing. It's like, with compounding interest, you become rich. You can, yeah. However, Pokemon has still outpaced it, even with company match, compounding interest, tax advantage, all that stuff. So after all that, let's do it. Let's start the chat. This is going to be a fun one, I'm sure. Here we go. I know Dan's going wild in the chat. What do we got going on today, guys? All right. Tanner, what's up? Trial, what's up, man? Solution 66. Yeah, I know, man. I will have more night streams now that I'm not working at my job anymore. I'll definitely do that for you. I know someone else said that same thing. iFOMO did. Yeah, for sure, guys. I will have more night streams from now on. Joshua Ortiz, what's up, man? What else we got? All right, Jim Picardo, what's going on? That's a nice Rudy wall. Yeah, it's just a background. It's not all mine. And iFOMO said it's Mason's. I don't even think it's Mason's. I think Mason uses Rudy's background as well as a green screen. I think it's all Rudy's, to be honest with you. But yeah, Mason's a store owner. He has a lot of product too. All right. Dan, already, again, just be sure to account for tax situations. Absolutely. All right, what's going on here? Let's start to get into some of this craziness. This title is going to tilt people so hard. Exactly. It's why I made it that. I love just, poking the hornet's nest, because here's the thing. Anyone new to my channel, you didn't see what I went through when I first started YouTube. All right. I've talked about it before, but I tracked through some mud. When I came out, I had just been banned on E4 for talking about how vintage was dying and modern sealed was the new way to go. And then I really was getting heat trying to, push this theory in other chats. People were really bashing it. So I made a YouTube channel talking about all these same things, comparing it to the S&P, comparing it to traditional investing, talking about how modern sealed was the way and how it was going to continue to perform. Got bashed for it, got hated on for it, was multiple live debates on my channel, other channels, really got a lot of heat from the other people in the debate, from the chat. Everyone was against this idea. I mean, literally everyone. You had multiple YouTube channels. I could show you clips. Had modern is not investable. Do not invest in this. Put it in the tried and true, the vintage. This stuff isn't going to last. Everyone knows about it. All this stuff. Like, anyone getting into the hobby now, you see how like modern seals like accepted and everyone kind of does it and everyone kind of agrees on it. It was not like that. When I started YouTube, it was hated on. You were seeing it stupid to be suggesting to put your money into modern sealed product. I promise you, if you go back and watch content from 2 years ago, year and a half ago, you'll see what I mean. And so to see, people starting to change, their mindsets and see the potential, That's all I'm happy about. I'm just happy to see it be a respected form of investment nowadays in, just in any investment in the Pokemon hobby, whatever it may be. Tanner said, Nostalgia I have a question. Do you know if you get a sealed case if you get 6 booster boxes from Pokemon Center? Yeah. If you buy 6 boxes, they send you a sealed case. It's been that way. I've heard that from multiple people. They should do that. Oh, the title changed. Yeah, I had a different idea for this video at first, but I wanted to get this one done. I'll make another one later on the title. I wanted to go about other investments, but I wanted to stick with this for today because it seemed like a better timing. How about the QQQs? All right, we got some traders here. I like it. Alejandro always here supporting folks, showing support. S&P taking a poop right now. Put options went crazy last week. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, anyone? Where are all my Bitcoin holders? Where are all my Ethereum holders? So I usually don't get into like holding actual cryptos, but I made some serious plays. I mean, anyone who made plays with crypto recently, you made out like bandits. I know I did. I'm not going to push any stocks, but yeah, there were some crazy gains to be made. I got in some things on Friday and I'm already out. Like literally already sold out today. Plan on holding longer, but the gains were so crazy. And hey, I don't got a job anymore, so I gotta take the gains when I see them. But I mean, like literally 15-20% gains were made overnight because of the crazy Bitcoin moves. If anyone doesn't know what's going on with Bitcoin, there's about to be or supposed to be an ETF announced. They're trying to get it through right now. I think it's BlackRock's ETF. They're trying to get it approved. And if they get it approved, there's going to be a Bitcoin ETF on the stock market for investors, for other wealth managers to sell to their clients. And so there's a lot of hype because if that happens, there could be a lot of money moving into that asset, which will pump Bitcoin much higher. So that's why there's so many crazy moves with Bitcoin right now. So there's a lot of plays there if anyone plays those markets. Let's see. I just tuned in. That's a dangerous title, my dude. Well, I'm a dangerous guy. You know what you get when you come here, man. I don't pull any punches. I don't sit the fence. I don't play all the what if games. I'm just showing you the numbers. You can make your own decisions, but these are the numbers. I mean, you can't deny that. Like you can say what you want about what could happen in the future, but this is what has and is happening now. Let's see. A Sword and Shield base set is asset. It's more than doubled and it's been a few years. Exactly. It's what I'm saying. I mean, this stuff rises over time because of scarcity. It always has. Yes, it is a better time to buy when dropping. Absolutely. Now, I never said Pokemon wasn't a good investment. It's just not a replacement for a 401k. That's for everyone's own decision. Everyone's got to make their own decisions. I'm not pushing any way. Draining a 401k and IRA as we speak. Thank you for the tax and investment advice. Hey, Dan, you're the one that just said you put 100K into Pokemon sealed product after you've said, I don't ever go back and invest in sets that have already risen in value. Or, after you said that you like to use the majority of your money to consistently invest in your business and rinse and repeat and flip more products and have more cash flow and more inventory. So what's going on there, man? It seems like, you're coming over to this side. Just don't let the rest of the cabal know, man. They don't like that stuff. They don't like that modern sealed. Too many people can do it. The cabal likes, really limited items that no one else can have, that only the few select people can have. They don't like, you be able to pick a product off the shelf, put it on your own shelf and make money off it because too many people can do it. And the cabal likes to remain secretive. Only a few people can own the items they like. Remember? That's what they like. That would take the S&P. That would take like 20 years. Exactly. I have money in the S&P and it's done well, but I'm not going to pretend collectibles aren't better. Yeah, exactly. Same here. Same exact thing here. We have 401ks, we have Roth IRAs. I'm not trying to say that, you shouldn't have any, right? That's, again, no advice here. You do for yourself what you want. But I just constantly see Pokemon investments talked down as like they're lesser, like somehow lesser than these other investments. And the numbers just don't show it. Like, that's why I love numbers. That's why a lot of people hate numbers, because it doesn't go with the rhetoric. It doesn't go with what they may, deem safe or what they may deem better, because it isn't, right? Even with company match, even with compounding interest, it just isn't better. I mean, if you don't have a company match, And if I mean, literally, you would be like half of what Pokemon's been doing. Half. I mean, the only redeeming quality of 401ks is basically the company giving you some money to match what you're putting in. If they didn't, I mean, and guys, here's the other thing. The numbers I showed, that was if you just bought one of every set. What, aren't we all, little bit of experts now? Like we have some expertise. What if you like double, triple, quadrupled, stocked up on the good sets you knew were good, and then kind of passed or got small investments on the bad sets? You know how offset those numbers could have been, right? If you would have invested heavily in the good sets that you knew were going to be good, right? If you would have put more money into the evolutions and the team ups and the evolving skies and those types of things, could you imagine how lopsided those numbers would have been? It would have been like 4x what the S&P's done, even with the company match compounding, all that stuff. So Pokemon investing is very alive and it's still doing very well. I can't stay, but love to listen when I'm at work. Just wanted to say thanks, Alex. Hey, thanks for being here. Again, I will have more night streams for more people to listen. Sorry about that. Don't forget dividends with some stocks. Well, yeah, that's going to be included in that compounding. That's part of the returns. So like when you see the Berkshire Hathaway returns, that's going to be with dividends being reinvested usually. Let's see. Bitcoin had a way better 10-year though. Why not go for the highest return? Hey man, Bitcoin just jumped $5,000. I think about $5,000 in the past 2-3 days. I'm telling you right now, if that ETF gets approved, if things go that way, we could see Bitcoin continue to be the best investment over the past 10 years because there's still a lot of wheels behind that. The U.S. government is still believed to be the biggest holder of Bitcoin, so I'm sure they have a lot of interest in getting ETFs and investments approved on the traditional markets because then all the wealth managers and all the fund managers can go out and sell those products to their customers. It's going to be a wild ride. I'm just saying, Bitcoin, I wouldn't say it's dead. Chevelle's, empty your savings accounts, buy Evolving Skies cases before the next inevitable guaranteed boom. Well, nothing's guaranteed, but nothing in the stock market's guaranteed either. 401k, like mutual funds, S&P, that's not guaranteed to always go up. Nothing's guaranteed. This is assuming everyone wants to live in a cardboard house in the future. That is a big assumption, isn't it? My daughter fell asleep after lunch. Might be able to hang for this one. Glad to have you here, Dan, as always. Oblivion. I love the name. From someone who audits employee benefit plans for a living, those matching figures are extremely rare as well. Exactly. The curious, let's take Evolving Skies out of the spreadsheet and how does it look? Evolving Skies, that's like one box. Like you might be better off taking Team Up or Flashfire or Phantom Forces or Evolutions. Like take one of those out of the spreadsheet. Evolving Skies isn't near as much as some of those sets have went up. Like you could take Evolving Skies out of that spreadsheet. It wouldn't change it much at all. I mean, here, I'll bring the spreadsheet back up for you. Evolving Skies is a mere $340 gain. I mean, look at these Sun and Moon gains. Look at these XY gains. Evolving Skies is a very small, minuscule part of that chart. So yeah, that wouldn't change the numbers that much at all. I mean, it would take $340 off the total. You'd still be doing just as well. Pokemon doesn't pay dividends. No, exactly. Pokemon doesn't have compounding interest either. That's why I showed those compounding interest charts. That's why I showed all those. Pokemon still beat it even after that. If they didn't have dividends or compounding interest, it wouldn't even be, it'd be laughable. You'd be stupid to put money in there without those things. Without company match, compounding interest, and dividends, it wouldn't even be close. Brian says, trading cards have done this and this, another example of it beating traditional markets. Yep. You are betting that Pokemon will continue to produce a set like Evolving Skies, which it seems they only do that every 2 years. Again, not at all. I mean, Sword and Shield base sets are already $285. You had, I don't know, what do we have? We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, 6, 7, 8 sets in Sun and Moon that are already as much or more than Evolving Skies. Or sorry, more than that. I mean, all of XY is more than Evolving Skies. It's over time. There's always going to be outperformers, but as sets age, they rise in value in this hobby. I don't know why everyone's pointing out Evolving Skies. That's nowhere near the highest gainer in the last 10 years. Not even close. The big thing I want to see with all the evidence is what Alex's portfolio balance is. That'd be the big tell. Okay, what Alex's portfolio balance is, that's okay. And 100% transparency. That's tricky because Alex did the smart thing and sold out near the tops of the market back in 2021. Some of that money went to, house updates, paying off cars, but most of that money went into the market. Now, a lot of that money is in long-term holdings. Now you're saying, well, why wouldn't they go into Pokemon? Because, right, if I sold those holdings, I would pay taxes on that. If you continue to hold, you don't pay taxes. So I know I won't sell my long-term holdings and put it into Pokemon because I eat all those taxes, which I'd immediately be behind those investments. However, if you ask me, Alex, in the last year and a half, I guess 2 years maybe, how much on a percentage have you put into Pokemon compared to traditional investments? I've put far more into Pokemon. New money, like new investment money. My new money has went extremely more into Pokemon in the last year and a half than it has in traditional investments. Extremely more, not even close. So no, I still have more in traditional investments, but that's because of when I sold out near the tops, I put that money there and parked it. And now if I sell those positions, I will incur a lot of capital gains tax. Whereas if I hold them there, I won't. And so I hold those, but the new money I put in each month, it largely goes to Pokemon over traditional investments. So I think that's a bigger tell than what my portfolio balance is, Dan. And honestly, if this continues, we'll check my portfolio in the next 2-3 years. I think Pokemon will start to outpace it by then if things continue this way. I don't understand why we're comparing Pokemon to mutual funds. You won't get a fake or resale stock. You can cash out in a matter of seconds. Of course, the yield will be lower. Yeah. So that's part of it, right? So obviously, it's way more liquid in stocks. It's click a button, you're filled, and you don't have to do the work of shipping the items. And yeah, you don't have to worry about fakes or scams. Again, guys, I know listening to people like Rattle and Opossum Bud and these other guys, I respect what they do for the community, but they do give this it's an unrealistic sense of how things actually happen. There's nowhere near that many scams out there. I've been back in this hobby for 8 years. I've bought and sold on eBay for 15 years, I think now. Been buying and selling Pokemon on eBay for 8 years. Never once, not one time have I ever been scammed. I haven't got one resaled item, one fake box, nothing, never, not one time, not once. And I've transacted I transacted first edition WotC boxes, right? I've transacted first edition WotC Hollows, PSA 9, PSA 10s before eBay's authentication guarantee. Like, never got scammed. So my heart goes out to those of you that have. However, what I'm saying, it's such a small percentage of the hobby that it happens to. It's very, very rare. Those like Opossum Bud Rattle, like, it's great that they call those scammers out, but it makes it seem like there's a lot more of that going on when like it's a few people they find a month out of millions and millions of transactions a month in the collectibles. It's just such a small percentage. Odds are it won't happen to most people in the hobby ever. So I do want to throw it out there. It doesn't happen that much. He's not unique in proving this. Forbes has an article about this kind of thing. This is good knowledge. Exactly. Yeah, look, guys, this isn't me. I'm not smart. I'm not trying to act like I found the cure to cancer here. I'm just putting the numbers in front of you so you can stop going off what people say, what people's opinions are, right? Like, this is just the numbers, all right? This is how numbers work. This is how compounding interest works. This is the actual Berkshire Hathaway and S&P returns over the past 10 years. This is the actual Pokemon returns with shipping and fees taken out. Like, this is just real. Like, do with it what you want. However, yeah, I'm not unique in any way showing this. It's just a lot of people haven't seen it because they haven't dug into the numbers. LOL, if this title is clickbait, you got me. No, man, go back to the beginning. Not clickbait in the slightest. In his video, he did say that he's investing with excess unneeded capital for cash flow, though, to be frank. But what does that mean? Like, Dan, I mean, set us straight. What does that mean? Like, is there a cap on how much money you can put into your business, into grading and flipping cards? Like, is there an excess on how much you can put into traditional investing, or is it just what you can get like, company match or tax advantage on? I mean, where does that line drawn? Because I mean, technically you could just grow in a business infinitely. You could just constantly reinvest everything into product, right? I mean, there's people that do that. Like, that's how you get to the size of like a P football Pete or something. Like, so at what point does it not make sense to make more cash flow, make more sales, make more transactions, grade more cards And does it make sense to start investing in modern sealed? I don't know. I'm just asking. I don't know that answer. Yeah, I'm not suggesting anything, Nick. These are not suggestions. These are just the real hard numbers. Anyone can find this. It's public data. I'm just putting the numbers in front of you. I'm showing what the actual returns are, what the compounding interest looks like, what the Pokemon investments cost compared to what they're selling for now. No advice given here. Don't take this as advice. Make your own financial decisions for yourself. I'm just putting the numbers in front of you. That's all I'm doing here, Nick. I'm not pushing anyone any certain way. You got to make your own decisions. Dan with a good old ad hominem sophism. Attack the messenger when you're disarmed by his arguments. Nah, man. Dan's not attacking anybody. The godly Shad. But that data you are showing is after the biggest boom in Pokemon history. Are you betting that Pokemon will go through another boom in 2020? Well, we're still seeing returns like this after the boom. Like all this Sword and Shield, this is all after the boom, after you had multiple bearish channels all say Pokemon investing in modern was dead and it wasn't going to work anymore and you need to put your money in vintage. And so it's still working. It still happens. Again, we can revisit this in another 2, 3, 4, 5 years. We can see the gains, and I'm sure by then people will have another reason why it won't work anymore. There's going to be naysayers every step of the way. I've just kind of come to that conclusion. There's no amount of numbers and data I can show. There's always going to be people that are saying it's not going to work. And so, look, you got to make your own decision. But these are the numbers. The cabal is done. The cabal is truly done. Vintage has proven to be, 95% dead. There's some cards that move. Some of it holds its value, but nothing like the gains we see in modern sealed. Yeah. All those niche items that no one can get, the only 10 pop reports or 50 pop reports are the ones that no one can find. People are saying, you know what? That's great, but I don't care. That could be the most rarest, most scarcest, the most historical significance to this hobby out there. But guess what? I still want an Evolving Skies booster box. Guess what? I still want a Moonbreon. Don't care. And people are voting with their dollars. I'm curious how the data looks 2021 and on. Just go look at the sets that started in 2021 and look. What? Sword and Shield base, Rebel Clash, all of them. Go look at any of them. They're all, everything but Shining Fates and Pokemon Go is positive. Every booster box positive. 100K wasn't into sealed investing, 40K into vintage boxes for a flip, 30K into modern boxes for inventory, and 70K into the S&P, LOL. That's okay. All right. Well, still 30K, man. 30K and 70K into the S&P. Dan, unless you're getting company match, unless you're getting some sort of, even with tax advantage, man, the S&P's got crushed by Pokemon. Like you can't make up for a 7K to 23K disparity with tax advantages, man. Look, do what you want. I'm just showing you the numbers though. Past performance is not indicative of future results. A vast portion of these boxes profits are from Pokemon Go, COVID, boom alone. Yeah, we hear that all the time. Hear that every step of the way. Jimbo Slice, even if it takes sets like 4 years to double, that's 25% a year, 90 to 180 in a few years, is smashing the S&P. Absolutely, even with compounding interest and dividends being reinvested. Watching from Denmark. What's up, Rasmus? I appreciate that. Good old inventory, Dan. Exactly. Everything's inventory, right? Dan, teach me your ways. Let's see. Investing 70K in S&P after 20 years. Treasuries have 3x since 2020. Bold move, Dan. Bold. Better term investment felt hat Pikachu or Pokemon Center Squirtle UPC. Oh, man. Investment value or stonk value? Those are two different things. It's just the annual tax shelter limits for my situation. Godly Shad, I believe. Okay, but Dan, answer me this. Like tax sheltered, you still pay taxes when you withdraw that money. Like the only no tax is when you put in already taxed money into a Roth, right? So like a SEP account, a 401k, a self-directed 401k, regular IRA, 401k, all of those are still taxed when you take the money out as income in the future. And so we're just kicking the can down the road. Can you explain that a little more? TCG Craze. Do you have singles collection? I started my journey into sealed collecting. However, I also collect singles. The problem I'm running into is singles take away from my sealed spending. Yeah. Used to have a lot more singles. Sold off pretty much everything into the boom. These days I try to collect some, but I'll be honest, most of my money goes to the sealed investing. It's fun to collect. I do try to set aside some money each month to just collect and not worry about the financial value of it. But yeah, it's definitely hard when you see the returns you can make elsewhere compared to singles. So you just got to make sure whatever the right thing for your situation and your budget is, and do that, and don't worry about what everyone else is doing. What exactly is the story of you getting banned in E4? There seems to be a good bit of modern collectors on there. So back then, that's the thing. Like, there seems to be a good amount of modern collectors on there now, right? There seems to be a lot of YouTubers and a lot in the Pokemon community that believes in modern and modern sealed now. Back then, there wasn't. Back then, modern was seen as like the entry, like the gateway into Pokemon. But anyone who was like serious about Pokemon and understood it and really delved deep, you went back into like vintage, right? You found the more rare, niche, and scarce cards, and the Japanese exclusive promos, and the trophies, and you really dove back into that, and that's where the true collectors were. And so when I started speaking out against that, I mean, I had threads like literally like, lining out how much better modern was, and how, all the new people coming in the hobby, and how I would just have all these posts about how much better modern would perform, and like evolutions and all these things. And then once those things started to happen, people got even more like against me, saying I was shilling, saying, keep that stuff out of here, saying, keep that stuff for the YouTube, stonk channels and the shill channels. And my threads would get deleted, my messages would get deleted. And what it was is people hated to see because a lot of those people on there have large positions. I mean, after the boom, hundreds of thousands, even $1 million plus positions in vintage. And so they didn't like to see when vintage started to come down and modern was holding better. They didn't like that, because it was taking money out of the vintage market into the modern market. It was drawing more eyes to that. And the more people that saw that didn't want vintage, they wanted modern, because that's where the money was going. And so I think they just wanted to snuff that out. And it's the same reason why I got so much heat for it when I started YouTube, is the same people that love vintage and have so much money in vintage hated the talk about modern, even though the returns are proving to be better and better every single month, every single year. And so I think that was probably the reason that happened. I wish I could go back and show you my posts, but when you're banned, it deletes all of your old posts, all of your old threads. Can't even see them. Even if I go make a new account on a new IP address, because they banned my IP address, not just my account, they banned my entire IP. So even if I got another computer, another internet network, went on there, I couldn't find any of my old posts because they're deleted with my banning. Same thing with YouTube channels. When you ban someone, everything gets deleted, because other channels I've been banned on, I'm not going to mention any names, it doesn't show any of my old chat, any of my old comments on their entire channel on any of their videos. So unfortunately, I can't show you proof. I would ask SM Pratt. I'm sure he can get in the back end and see his E4 back end stuff. Lee, every channel was talking about investing in hidden shining fates 2 years ago. Vivid voltage stonks were what got clicks. What do you mean? So you mean channels like, I'm not going to mention names, but yeah, there were definitely modern stonk channels. But like I said, a lot of what I named the cabal, right? Like the old heads, the original collectors, people who have been in the hobby a long time, the people who really love vintage, they were all talking out against modern, like very bearish, telling people not to invest in it, saying it was going to crash, saying to put your money into vintage. That's what's going to be more sheltered. That's going to be protected from a crash. And it's been completely wrong. Vintage has crashed harder than modern. Vintage has stayed at the crash bottom longer than modern and hasn't recovered like modern has. So it's proved to be completely wrong. Gains in anything since 2020 is not a brag. It would be concerning if you hadn't made profits since 2020. I'll give you that one. Absolutely. Hey, Nostalgianomics, if your One Piece booster box remains Dawn on a blue bottom or white. So mine's blue. Mine is the original first print. Bought it from the card shop. They told me, they go, hey, look, we'll sell you one, but we're putting these away. They were under the mindset that they thought the first print was going to be distinguishable. They put some away because they thought it was going to be a big deal, because they did make some, they did change some like mistakes, kind of like how Pokemon did with first edition and Shadowless and base set. They did change some things with the second release. However, if you don't know, there's like 3 or 4 releases of Romance Dawn. The first one has a blue bottom. The second one also has a blue bottom. Now, you may not know it's the second one, but there was a first release and a second release. I've talked to the card shop's owners. They confirmed it. I've talked to other people. They've confirmed it. So there are actually 2 different blue bottoms. I do have the original first print with none of the corrections on the cards. However, it's very hard to prove that. And so I don't know how that's going to be in the future. Maybe I'll have to open one box up out of the case and like pull some of the cards that had the corrections to prove the whole case is that way. And then I might be able to get a huge premium for those boxes. So that's probably what I'll end up doing, is doing that live on YouTube and then kind of like linking that to my eBay or a, Instagram listing, or selling it privately. And hopefully I'll be able to get that premium that it deserves. But yeah, there were multiple releases before they went to the white bottom, before they went to the new style boxes. So just be careful with that. Taxes are the least of your problems. Absolutely. Not always on Pokemon Center cases. They sent me 6 loose boxes of Brilliant before. Wow. So sorry. I guess I said wrong. I've been told, I've never bought Pokemon Center boxes, booster boxes. I've bought PCTBs and they come in cases, but yeah, I didn't know that. So I guess it's hit and miss. So sorry about whoever asked that. Dan, to be fair, 70,000 wasn't into the S&P, just mostly Vanguard 2060 retirement. Smart. Okay, let's see if we can figure that out. Dan did. Since Dan volunteered that information, let's find it. All right, Vanguard 2060. Vanguard 2060. Can we find it? This is by the way, all the Vanguard mutual funds they offer. So I'm just trying to see if we can find Vanguard 2060. Here it is, right here. Vanguard 2060. Dan, it's got a 7.65% over the past 10 years. What are you thinking, man? Come on, Dan. What are you thinking, bro? Here it is. Vanguard 2060. Is that it? VTTSX ticker? Like, come on, man. You're putting money into that instead of Pokemon? Like, dude, don't hold on to your pride that hard. Just invest in Modern Shield. You know you want to. Oh, man. Come on, Dan. That's like one of the worst mutual funds they have. Self-created loose mimic of that blendish. All right. Don, member for 4 months. I appreciate that, man. Hey, Alex, hope all is well. All is well, Don. I appreciate you being a member of the channel, man. I haven't made 70K so far in my adult life. Oh, man. Oh, Don gifted a membership too. Don, I really appreciate that. Who did gift it? Whoever got that membership, thank Don for that. Don's always been a huge channel supporter, man. I really appreciate all the love you've shown over the time I've been on YouTube, man. I really do. Thanks so much. One thing is long-term capital gains are taxed at a higher rate than most people's income tax. Yeah, that's why, again, I'm not going to get into taxes, but if you're doing this seriously, make sure you start a business. Make sure you talk to an accountant. Make sure you find the ways to lower that tax bill with write-offs. Thoughts on fixer-upper houses, property prices? Yeah, I mean, obviously, look, this is my opinion right here, but I can't see real estate going down. As soon as the interest rates drop in the future, more people who've been sitting on the sidelines are just going to buy more houses, probably going to rise the prices more. I think no matter what the real estate market's doing, it always pays to either get a fixer-upper or buy it like the bottom of the neighborhood overall range, and then put money into the house, because you're always going to get more returns on that than buying at the top of the range. So that's just my regular, kind of common advice on real estate. I think everyone kind of knows that stuff, though. Selling Pokemon is immoral. I need to keep my soul pure and innocent. It is meant for kids to play, not adult professionals to live like freshmen for an eternity. I love it, man. I love it. Bro, your income bracket is what it is. If you make dollars at a job or an investment, it's income. It gets taxed the same. No, it doesn't, actually. There are different tax rates for different types of investments. Definitely. Dan is joining the dark side, whether he wants to admit it or not. Whether the cabal approves or not, Dan is a modern sealed investor. He's not. He can call it inventory all he wants, but we know. Most likely BlackRock BTC ETF will get approved, as out of 350 plus ETFs they started, only one fell through. Thus, the chances are very high. Exactly, 100%. That's why I have been playing that play for sure. Yep, Pikachu Van Goghs, they're great stonks if you can get a hold of them. Alex, when are we doing live breaks again? Having withdrawals, buddy. They're coming up. I'm looking for boxes right now as we speak. We're really going to get into more live breaks. Yeah, that's definitely coming now that I'm full-time now. I'm definitely going to have more time for that. So yes, stay tuned for the live breaks announcements. They're right around the corner, Dan. I use my 401k as a savings. It's just money I can't touch with which is super nice. Yeah, I mean, it's good. Look, 401ks are great. Not going to say anything bad about them. The BTC ETF just got removed from BlackRock's site. Doesn't mean it's been denied, just maybe not as close to approval as people thought. That's interesting. Okay, I did not know that. Thanks for the information, Lee. I'm up $1,000 profit in just personal collection and sealed product, just over 5K. Nice job. Dan, I love to hear that stuff, man. Congrats on that. Serious question. All right, guys, this is serious. What do you think the best plays or products will be when Crown Zenith reprints drop? It depends on price point. It all depends on price point. What each individual product drops to in price point compared to the value you get inside, it's yet to be seen. I couldn't say that without seeing what the market price is when the reprints come. So sorry about that. U.S. government has the most Bitcoin only because they seized it. They don't want Bitcoin to do well. That's counterintuitive. Like, they seized it, they own it, but they don't want it to do well. Like, if it did well, wouldn't the U.S. government just become more wealthy? And then all the politicians get to take big bonuses off of it in some way, shape, or form? Now, I'm sure they want it to do well. Jax, I appreciate that. Yeah, everyone smash that like button. Hit that sub button if you're not subscribed yet. Really appreciate that. We're on the road to 7K, guys. We're like less than 600 subs away from 7K. So I really appreciate that. Let's see. What are returns for other time periods, like 06 to 2012? So 06 to 12, that's before modern times. I talked about this a million times, Clinton. That was before like the social media age. That's before everyone came back in the hobby. That's before all the new collectors were drawn in. It's a very unrealistic comparison comparing 06 to 2012. Like, that's like saying, well, how were returns back during the Great Depression, right? Like, it's very unrealistic. And then 13 and 19. The reason I say modern sealed, I consider modern X, Y, and on. I consider X, Y, and Sun and Moon modern, Sword and Shield, and Scarlet and Violet ultra modern. So that's why I call it modern sealed investing. I'm not saying go invest in black and white and diamond and pearl and so on, right? X, Y, Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet. That's modern times. That's when Pokemon Go, the game, came out. Evolutions came out, drew a ton of people in the hobby. Hidden Fates, Logan Paul, Big Boom came out. Now we got, celebrations. We got 151. More and more people continue to join the hobby. So that's why I talk about modern sealed. And so, yeah, 06 to 012, 2013, it doesn't make sense to compare those. The hobby isn't what it is now. It's not comparable in my opinion. But hey, if you want to compare those and that's what you want to do to make your own decisions, go for it. It's just unrealistic in my opinion. Just my opinion though. Pokemon Wonders here. What's going on, man? Thanks for showing up. Is Pokemon riskier than the S&P in your opinion? Yeah. I would say it's riskier. Yeah, I mean, cardboard's riskier, I would say. PSA here. People are going to tell you to invest in crypto right now because they are FOMOing. But it's too late to accumulate now. Accumulation was at 15 to 19K. It's never too late though, right? I mean, you could, here, we could look at like, I could pull up a chart of like any stock out there, and every step of the way you could say it was too late. Like every leg up a stock got over the years, you could say it was too late, right? Like when, I follow AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. It's a chip company, competes with NVIDIA and Intel. You could say like that was too late when it went from $7 to $20, or when it went from 20 to 50. Now it's $100 stock. Like, when was it too late? Like when it doubled, when it tripled, when it quadrupled. Like if you got in after it 5x and you got in at like $35, $40 a share, you still over doubled your money right now. It's like, so saying something's too late, it's very arbitrary, right? Like if Bitcoin goes to 100,000, like some people think it could, is it too late? I mean, it's at 30 something thousand right now. You're going to triple your money. And so it's just, you're not going to make the gains others have. Maybe you're not going to become a crypto millionaire, but I really step back from ever saying an investment is too late, right? Like you could have said, during the boom, like when everything boomed and crashed, you could say it's too late to invest in Pokemon, but almost every X, Y, and Sun and Moon box that I sold during the boom is almost all higher than when I sold it during the boom. Like we're seeing new highs. So it wasn't even too late when everything boomed. So I caution people to say anything's too late, right? Might be better investments out there, but it's not too late to make money on. One Piece OP5 in a month, and half be ready to see what flippers mean, what flipping means. Yeah, OP. So if anyone doesn't know, OP5, this new One Piece set, it's supposed to be like the biggest thing. All the One Piece communities behind it. It's got like these ultra rare god cards, like more than the other sets have had. It's supposed to be like the biggest set released since Romance Dawn, and so could be a huge play. One Piece has reprinted their products a lot, so I don't know, like there probably will be a lot of flipping and a lot of booms and busts in that market, but long term, it's probably going to do well. Trow 300K in sealed as of right now. That is a good position right there, my friend. Dan wants Alex to show his pockets, but keeps his behind paywalls. I mean, I'll show my pockets. Like here, I mean, I'm not today. I'll pull up my accounts. I'll make sure like all my account numbers are like all, make sure you can't see those. But I'll pull up my stock portfolio. I'll show you my spreadsheets of what kind of Pokemon investments. I don't care. Like I'm an open book, right? I'll tell you everything. I don't care what people know. Like it doesn't bother me. But yeah, of course I still have more money in the stock market because of all the money I made when I sold everything during the boom, right? Like I made over $200,000. And I'm only putting, maybe a few thousand, not even nowadays, like now that I quit my job, I'm not even going to be putting a few $1,000s into Pokemon per month. And so it takes time for that investment to build up. And like I said, I'm not just going to sell all my stocks and eat all those capital gains and throw it into Pokemon because then I'm starting way behind because I ate all those taxes. And so, but no, I'd be happy to show. I'm not like embarrassed to say that I have more money in the stock market than Pokemon right now. Now, if I continue the same trend and continue to invest largely more into Pokemon per month than I do in the stock market, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years from now, we will see my portfolio be heavier in Pokemon than the stock market, as crazy as that sounds. It's the truth, though. That's how much I believe in. I've said it before. I'm not a shill. I actually believe in what I say. And guess what? I actually do what I say. When I pushed the Charizard UPCs, guess what I did? I went out and bought a bunch of them. When I talked about all this modern sealed investing, guess what I do? I go out and buy it all too. When I pushed XY cards and everyone gave me crap for it, guess what I did? I bought a bunch of XY cards. If I pulled up a lot of my eBay sales right now, I've been selling a lot of those XY cards for 50, 70, even 100% gains from when I bought them just a few months ago. Guys, I'm literally telling you what I do. It's up to you if you want to do it too or not, but I'm not hiding anything, right? I have nothing to hide. It's all right out in the open. I just know that this hobby is so huge. And although I appreciate everyone that follows me and all the subscribers and 170 people here watching right now live, which is insane for the middle of the day on a Tuesday. Although I appreciate all that, I'm realistic. I understand this is still a small portion of the overall hobby. I could tell every single subscriber I have, all 6,900 and whatever of them, exactly what I do. And it's still not going to ruin that play or that thing for the overall market because there's millions of customers out there. It's just the numbers don't add up. You can't ruin a market by telling a few thousand people what you're doing. That's why I don't mind it. Let's see what we got. For those saying the stocks will go up as they always have, do you realize they are down for the last 2 years, correct? I mean, some stocks are, some stocks aren't. It just depends. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, the same people saying that the stock market's basically guaranteed are the same people saying the Pokemon's not guaranteed now. Like, it's like, I mean, that's why I don't like to play the boogeyman of the future game. Like, the boogeyman's going to come and kill your Pokemon investments, but then he's going to spare the stock market investments. It's like, when the stock market's down, Pokemon's been like fine. It's been stagnant or up. When the stock market booms, Pokemon booms. It's just like we've seen a very good correlation compared to Pokemon in the stock market. We haven't seen like the stock market boom and then Pokemon bust, or the stock market bust and then Pokemon bust worse. It hasn't. There's never been that relationship in the past 8-10 years. And so for people to say it's going to happen now, it's like, I don't think so. Hey, Alex, I hope quitting your job works out in your favor. Can't wait to see what you keep doing in the hobby. Yeah, I hope so too. I have high hopes, but we'll see what happens. It's not like I'm not like basing my entire life's work career on this. You know, if things go well and I'm making good enough money, I'll continue and keep growing it. If not, I can always go get another job. It's not do or die for me, if that makes sense. But, you know, it's like, hey, didn't like what I was doing. It's the end of the year. I don't want to get a job into the holidays. Might as well give it a shot for the next few months. Let's see what we got. Dan, ran the numbers per the data you showed. It probably pays off to sell and pay taxes, then put it all into Pokemon. What? It probably pays to sell and pay taxes, then put it. Oh, to sell and pay taxes? We'll see. Maybe I'll run those numbers. Thanks for letting me know, Dan. I'll have to run those. Maybe I will make that. I could end up doing that. That'd be the video, right? Live on screen, selling all my shares of stock and then buying Modern Seal. That would have to go viral, right? I'll look into that, Dan. I appreciate that. Thanks for doing the numbers for me. Alex's thoughts on the CZ reprint. I'm going to be picking up more. I already have Crown Zenith. Going to be buying more. Like I said, the product really depends on what I see the best value in. It'll probably be regular ETBs. I like regular ETBs of specialty sets, right? So like I don't really buy ETBs anymore of mainline sets. I kind of ended that back with Evolving Skies, Sword and Shield base, Rebel Clash, things like that. But you know, as far as like, you know, Champions Path, Shining Fates, Pokemon Go, Celebrations, Crown Zenith, I don't mind holding ETBs because there's no booster box. And I think that's kind of the main product. Like if people have a sealed collection and they want one of every box, they're most likely going to collect the ETB for the specialty sets over like a collection box or a 3-pack blister or something like that. Maybe a UPC, but usually an ETB is going to be the mainline product of specialty sets. Scams are more rare than people think. It's true. Exactly. Like, I mean, like I said, I think I'm up to about 1,000 transactions on eBay. I'm up to hundreds on TCG Player. Like, never been scammed. Transacted, you know, 10, you know, boxes that are now worth in the tens of thousands, you know, first edition WotC boxes, base set box. I mean, I guess, you know what, to be honest with you, maybe they were fake. I don't know, but I bought them, I held them, and I sold them during the boom. And the person, you know, the company I sold them to, they didn't have any questions and they paid me. So, I mean, who knows? But every box I've ever bought, it looked real. I sold it. The person who got it never complained. I don't know. I never had an issue. So I don't know what to tell you. I had every single XY box, every single Sun and Moon box, a lot of Sword and Shield boxes, cases of multiple of those sets. Never had one complaint, one return, one, you know, scam. That's all I can say. That's just me. That's just one person. Maybe others get scammed more often. You know, it sucks to say this for new eBay sellers, but you know, maybe it pays to maybe not sell high-end stuff to zero feedback or brand new accounts. If you are starting brand new accounts and you hate hearing that, look, start making some purchases, right? Maybe start selling some lower end stuff, sell some, you know, cheap singles, some maybe cheap PSA cards, get your feedback built up to maybe 15, 20, 25 stars. And then, you know, people won't feel worried about sending you stuff, right? So, but yeah, I'm usually, I'll admit I canceled sales before. If it looked fishy, it was like out of country, zero feedback, brand new, or negative, you know, multiple negative feedbacks. I had no problem canceling the order. So maybe that's the reason I haven't been scammed out. I'm smart with where I sell. I don't know. Numbers versus feelings. I get it. Numbers always win. No emotions, just numbers. Are we saying that Pokemon investing is better than receiving a 401k match from your employer? Well, yeah, it has been. I'm not saying it's going to be. Future's a mystery, but yeah, Jackson, if you missed earlier, I will share my screen one last time. So here is all of So Jackson, here is all of XY, Sun and Moon, and Sword and Shield. If you would have bought it release, what it's selling for now in the market, this is your profit. So you would have paid $37.45 over the past 10 years. You would now have an investment of $23,289. Okay. And so your profit would be $19,544 after shipping of all 46 items and your fees of 13%. You would have a profit of $16,000, right? However, if you would have invested that same amount in a 401k, it would have been $31.21 a month. Now, if your employer would have matched that double, right? They would have doubled that. So it'd be $62.42 a month. You would have monthly contributed that for the last 10 years at a 12% interest rate. Where'd I get that interest rate, you ask? It was from the Vanguard, okay? The Vanguard S&P, where's it at? I think I found it. Here it is. It's from the Vanguard S&P Index, 11.87%. And also the Berkshire Hathaway average of the past 10 years was 11.89%. So I rounded up, to be fair, to 12%. So that total amount, 12% compounded monthly, you would have $14,468. That's after compounding interest, after 100% employer match. You would still come out short, even after shipping and selling fees with Pokemon. So that's just the numbers. Again, not saying it's guaranteed for the future, but yes, if you would have done that in the past 10 years, you would have came out ahead in Pokemon. Hope that answers your question for you. Yes, there is actually a cap on how much will go in my business, LOL. One main operation, I can only spend so much. Enough is a word, is my vocabulary. Okay. That's fair, Dan. That's fair. Show your 401k, then show your sealed closet. Oh, it's not real. My sealed closet isn't real? I mean, okay. I mean, I feel like I've showed a lot of products in my videos over the time, but I guess so. Breaking news, Warren Buffett liquidates all Berkshire holdings and buys sealed Pokemon for his shareholders while watching Nostalgianomics live stream. Could you imagine? We'd all be rich, because imagine how much money everything would be worth if he bought it. If he really put his billions, or was he over $1 trillion now, with all that money into Pokemon sealed? I don't even think he could buy that much, but if he did, it would buy out the entire market. Everything would be so expensive. It'd be crazy. I guess then you have to find buyers at those crazy prices. That might be a challenge, but oh man, that would be wild. Question, you're starting over. You have $5K in your card fund. What are your moves to increase that fund? Oh man, that's so rough. So 1 minute. It's different for everyone. If you have time on your hands, you have expertise in the hobby, buying out lots, buying out collections, buying raw mint singles to grade is going to be your fastest way to make profits, to grow your fund, right? And that way you can make exponential returns over a short period of time. This does take work, it takes effort, it takes risk. You're risking, getting those collections in to be in the condition you want. You're risking the grading cards and them getting the grade you want from PSA. It takes time, it takes effort on constantly buying and selling. And so, but that's going to be the way to make the most amount of money. As far as investing wise, yeah, I mean, for me, I've been putting mostly into Sword and Shield era product right now, because I feel like a lot of the Scarlet Violet era has time. Now Scarlet and Violet getting down to $80 a box on the SV base, that may be a good entry point. It's about finding the right entry points, and then finding the right timing, right? Like, when Pokemon gets a year and a half, 2 years old, usually the reprints stop. And usually when the reprints stop and the supply starts to fall, you'll see the prices start to kind of rise drastically. You'll see boxes go from 100 to 150 pretty quickly a lot of the time. And so, it's just about finding those sets. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you the exact sets are going to move. Like, we could see Chilling Reign go to $200 next. We could see Fusion Strike do it. We could see, Silver Tempest and Lost Origin sell out of those reprints really quickly and absolutely, skyrocket back to where they were. We could see some, we're seeing XY right now really catch fire. I mean, we're seeing 50% returns on some of the XY stuff. So it's really all over the place. There's also singles that are doing well. So, it's just what makes sense for you, your time frame. And, obviously if you're not investing in every single set, like clockwork, kind of like a mutual fund, and you're just trying to, kind of pick stocks or pick sets, it's definitely going to be more risky, but it can be more rewarding. But Garen, man, I just don't have an absolute answer for you on that. Sorry. I hate to be a fence sitter, but I can't give you an exact product and say this is going to hit the moon. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be the next thing. Dan, I am matching myself 25%. I like it, man. Uh, I can make a video how to pay little to no taxes withdrawing from a 401k or IRA. You do that, Dan. Anything you can do to continue to try to trash modern investing while you put tens of thousands of dollars into it, man. You do that. Go for it, man. Go for it, my man. Roth 401k, you're wrong. Yeah, so Roth 401k, your gains do grow tax-free. However, you're putting in already taxed money, so there's no tax advantage to your investment. But yeah, your money will grow tax-free. So yeah, you're absolutely right about Roths. I agree. Me and my wife both have Roth IRAs, 100%. The thing is with Roths and traditional, there's always limits. Like Roth 401ks, Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, traditional 401ks. They all do have limits. They have limits to how much money you can put in per year. And so, Pokemon investing obviously has no limit. I have some Roth, but traditional is better when I am at the highest brackets I will be in my lifetime. Yeah, again, as far as Roth and traditional goes, he's right. It's all about your income bracket. You just consult tax professionals, consult financial professionals on this. It's just it'll be different for each individual person's income. I mean, here's the thing: if you're at a high income and you have that much money, the most you can put into a Roth IRA a year is $6,500. Like it's almost worth it just to throw the max amount in there anyway. Because it's just it's probably a small portion of your income and it's gross tax free. And so, it probably makes sense to do both at that point. But yeah, consult a professional. None of this is advice. It's just showing you what's happened and has happened, continues to happen, whatever it may be. I don't know what I'm doing here, guys. I just work here. Van Gogh is what everyone wants. Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy. People. Hey, and as long as the market is like that, as long as people are that stupid, it's always going to be that way. It's always going to be that way. There's always going to be these Pokemon Center exclusive stonks and the GameStop exclusive, Target exclusive, Best Buy exclusive stonks. And it's always going to be that way because people are always going to pay that. And guess what? The whole race to the bottom, the race to grade with CGC, the race to get your PSA 10s, it's always going to be a thing. People are always going to overpay for singles. They're always going to overpay for graded cards out of the gate. And they're always going to drop, and it's going to be the same thing over and over because people never learn their lesson. It's pretty funny, honestly. So with inflation, et cetera, do you think you'll be able to live off some extremely low income in 20 plus years? Extremely low. I don't know are you referencing Dan there? I don't know. Alex, it's also a business expense dropping down your taxable profit if you are incorporated. Yeah, exactly. 100% there too. I sniped an Evolving Skies booster box for 300. I thought about it to flip it and buy 3 boxes of Lost Origin. Do you think it's a good play or should I keep the Evolving Skies booster box? Guys, I don't know the crystal ball type stuff. I don't know. Lots of people I think they're both good. Lots of people often hold a dogmatic position that their way of making money on Pokemon is the only way and the most optimal way, when in reality, there are many different ways. 100%. Thank you for that comment, Ray. I've said that forever. There's a million different ways to make money in this hobby. And guess what? Not everyone wants to do it the same way. Like the businesses, a lot of people in the business, they think it's stupid almost. Like not you, Dan, but some people think it's stupid to invest in Pokemon. They're like, oh, you could just grade, or they think it's stupid to buy a PSA card. You could grade it yourself. You could flip all this money and make all this money. Why hold anything when you can continuously rinse and repeat and get cash flow? It's like, guess what? Newsflash, a lot of people don't want to waste their time doing that. They don't want to spend all those hours and all that time doing all that work. They just want to go to their job, make their money, buy investments, and let them grow passively over time. And then some point down the road, they'll take some time and sell each individual thing. Or maybe they'll take a little less profit and sell it all as a big collection to someone else who wants to make the excess profit. Who knows? But a lot of people don't want to, pay attention to the market, constantly buying singles, constantly be grading, constantly be selling. I've been part of both worlds. I'm really getting into the selling side now. Look, I can tell you firsthand, it's work. It takes work to buy and sell constantly, to grade, to do all the sourcing. A lot of people just don't want to do that work. And I understand that, right? Look, if I had a job that I enjoyed and I was making 200, 250K, I probably wouldn't, again, worry about all the buying and flipping Pokemon. Why would I? Why would I want to do all that work? I'll go to my job. I'll make my money. I'll invest in sealed product, let it grow over time passively without doing any work, enjoy my free time with my wife, with my friends, with other hobbies, doing whatever I want to do. And then down the road, I'll sell a few things when I want to, and it won't take up much of my life. So yeah, do it. There's a million different ways to make money. Look, you can even invest in raw singles, and the singles can rise over time. PSA cards can rise. 10s can rise. 9s can rise. CGC can't rise. I'm just kidding, guys. I got to attack CGC at once. Has anyone been seeing the CGC sales? Like, you're seeing the CGC lovers really, they're really getting amped up. You can see some of their videos, and they're praising the buyers of the CGCs, like saying, "Oh man, this guy got a crazy deal. Good for you, man. The seller got screwed, but you got." It's like, no, that's just the market. That's just what that card's worth, because nobody wants CGC. As much as people want to try to make it a thing, it's not a thing. And we're seeing CGC 10s now sell just above a PSA 9 on some of these cards. And I am not exaggerating. Some of the CGC 10s are selling literally 10 times less than their PSA 10 counterpart. 10 times. 10 times. Not kidding. One card in particular, Dan, if he's in this chat still, I actually texted him about this card because he had a recent sale of it. I wanted to check what it went for. The Slow King. The Neo Slow King first edition, the holo, it last sold for 5 figures. The CGC 10 is selling for under $1,000. Very close to what a PSA 9 goes for. And there's multiple examples of that. So, guys, look, I know everyone likes to get on me and say, Alex, stop attacking CGC. You're letting your bias show through. It's not my bias. It's the same thing as the stock market thing. It's just the numbers. Open your eyes up, get off your blinders. Don't complain about why the market's irrational, or try to say people shouldn't, they're being irrational. They should value these higher. Like they're just being, they're disliking CGC for no reason. Like these should be, no, you can't tell the market it's wrong. The market does what it does, and we play into the market as we see fit. You can't just constantly complain about it being irrational and saying the market's wrong, right? And so, no, it's not my opinion. It's just what's actually happening. So I've been trying to do this. You could do this as well. That does open up opportunities to buy these CGC 10s that you can find that are clean, because a lot of them just aren't clean. They're PSA 9 quality, to be honest with you. And if you find some clean ones, you can take that risk. You can snip, crack those cases, send those cards into PSA, and you might be able to hit some crazy returns. But again, there's a lot of risk there, right? You might get a PSA 9 and lose some money. So be careful with that. But guys, PSA is still king, unless you want to go for the absolute lottery and try to hit the Beckett Black label. Other than that, PSA is still king. Inflation isn't as bad in the woods. A lot of that housing is going to crazy cities. Dan's advice, stay in the woods. You don't need income out there. I love it. Let's see. More people can afford modern. A lot of average people are priced out of vintage. Yeah, that's my gripe with that's where the whole cabal thing came from, is for the longest time, and again, not mentioning any names, but you'd see a lot of creators, right? And a lot of E4 members, they all hype up, they all, show these cards in their videos, right? And they all hype them up, talk about how great they are and the historical significance and how limited they are. And they're always like these $10,000, $100,000 cards, or these limited print run cards that no one else can get. And that's what they love, right? Like those kind of people, they love that no one else can have them, right? And then they hated people like me who said, hey, there is enough modern booster boxes on the market at release to go around. Anybody watching this video can go out and pick it up. Anyone can invest and make money in modern. They didn't like that. They like the real niche, selective stuff that there's only like 50 available and no one else can have them and only we can have them. And that's why I'm against that, because guess what? Eventually people say, you know what? I don't care. I don't want to be part of your club. You see, everyone's seen that Ice Cube clip about him in Hollywood. I love that, but I don't want to be part of your club. All right. We don't care what you're telling us that we should like. Oh, we should like vintage because it's got historical significance, because other hobbies people like vintage because, it's always been a thing. Guess what? People don't care. They like what they like. It goes back to that whole thing I said about CGC. You can't complain about the market what it's doing or call it irrational or call it wrong. You can't do that. It's what people like. It's what people enjoy. That's where they're putting their money. And so that's why people move into modern. They legitimately like it. And the people that like vintage, I get it. I understand why you like it, because you're nostalgic about it, and because you like it so much, you want others to like it, and because you've done all this research and learned all the ins and outs of Pokemon, and you know like all the different misprints and reprints, and you know all the different releases and all the niche items that no one else knows about. You want to get that information out. You want other people to care about it as much as you do, but unfortunately, sometimes people just don't, the majority of the population just don't care about the same things that you do the same way. And you have to be willing to accept that and make the plays based on what the market wants. The same way I did with the Charizard UPCs. Just don't like that product. But guess what? I could see the market liking it. I could see the price point being the right price point to move into that item. I made the play. So it's not like you have to like the items you invest in, but you have to understand market trends. You have to be able to identify these things if you want to be a competent investor. Don't let your own collection and your own collecting goals and your own mindset, kind of ruin what a good investment could be for you because you don't want to move into things that you don't like. Mr. Walrus making a return, man. I haven't seen you in here in light years, man. What's up? Hi, Dan. I've been following your content for some time. Do you really have more money than Prostein? Mr. Walrus comes to my channel just to talk to Dan. You gotta love it, right? They canceled you, bro. They tried. That's why I made this YouTube channel. You can't cancel me anymore. Can't do it. No matter how many people in this hobby hate me, I'm still here. We're still here. We're all still here. I'm stacking Japanese stamp boxes and Van Gogh Pikachus right now. You're stacking them? All right. All right. The Van Gogh, man, that's a risky one. I mean, it could be great over time, and it's probably going to see a dip eventually here soon. But yeah, it could come back strong. So yeah, I mean, there's no telling what could happen with that card. Is NN Pokenav 2.0? Man, come on, we're not going to put down Pokenav. He's not even around to defend himself anymore. I mean, hey, Pokenav said some good things. He said some things that ended up being incorrect. But hey, if we're gonna make that the metric, don't make me go to some of the Cabal channels and say all the thing and show all the clips of the things they said that have been incorrect. That would be a video too long to even be watched. All right. So let's not judge people on their mistakes they made, because a lot of people have some very, very big mistakes in these last few years. Have you seen what's happening with Sports Modern? It has been crashing recently. Could we see the same thing happen in Pokemon? Vintage has not seen the drops that Modern Sports has seen. Vintage Sports, you're saying? No, I haven't. From what what Modern Sports though? As far as I know, the serialized, right? Like the really high-end serialized cards of the popular players, that's been pretty strong. It's actually outpaced a lot of the vintage cards in a lot of different hobbies. Whether it be, football, hockey, basketball, etc. So I'd be interested, for you to share exactly which ones you're talking about. I did a video not too long ago, and I could link it, but sports cards, actually a lot of the top 10 list of sports cards, not as much MLB, but definitely basketball, hockey, football, etc. They're starting to become dominated by modern cards over vintage because of the serialized versions. Let's see. Dan's talking about his tax advice in the chat, his investment and tax advice. You can't have 200K positions in Pokemon and liquidate without putting in lots of work. At that, it's a job, not an investment. Well, that's not true. That's not true whatsoever. You can take a hit, right? You can always take a hit and get rid of it. Here, if I had $200,000 in team up boxes right now, do you think there's not an investor out there who wouldn't buy those from me at, let's say, like a $1,400 price point? I'm just saying, like, do you think I couldn't go sell, a 200K in Evolutions boxes at like $600? I mean, it just depends on how much profit you want to make. You can take a little lower than market and leave profit for the person who wants to sell them out individually, and you can offload huge positions. You wouldn't believe it. It happens all the time in this hobby. I mean, you'll have people who have large positions in singles or PSA cards, and they'll sell them off to people at 70, 75% of the value. And that person will take on the risk and the work of selling them all individually, and they'll make that margin, right? So it just depends on how much profit you want to make. But you can offload that position. Maybe you might take 170K, right? But you can offload it. Absolutely, you can. Ponga's in here. I'm so glad I paid Dan for financial advice so I don't have to do those things. I know Dan loves that. He loves that. People doubting Dan's strategy are crazy. Man can afford anything and chooses to pay Excel nerds to provide the best strategy. Oh, it's so funny. Here's the thing, okay? And this is not putting down Dan in any way, because I like Dan. I'm friends with Dan. However, it's not apples to apples, right? Dan got, he had a much larger position during the boom, got extremely rich during the boom. However, if you were to take Dan and say, Dan, you have this much money, this is all you got to your name now, right? And then take someone else with the same amount of money, and Dan be employing his same strategies versus that person just putting into Pokemon in the last 10 years, the Pokemon person would have won. I mean, you've seen the numbers. And so it's easy to see. I mean, that's just Dan, right? We're all small fish here. I mean, let's take someone worth $100 million. Like that person could say, I just put all my money into bonds. I make $5 million a year at 5%. It's like, okay, so he's smarter than all of us because he makes more money, right? It's not indicative really of the best strategy, right? Just because someone has more money than someone else, right? Or we could take Warren Buffett. Whatever Warren Buffett does is the best way. Well, we've seen, Berkshire Hathaway barely beats the S&P. And so, look at this here. Let me share my screen again. Look at these mutual funds, right? Vanguard. Look at this. 19% in the past 10 years on this fund. 14, 13. All of these mutual funds outperformed the S&P and Warren Buffett, right? So realistically, anyone who invested in these in the last 10 years, you outperformed Warren Buffett. So it doesn't really make his investment smarter. It just means it was, he's got more money. So his investments, they look better because he made more profits. So, I mean, that's why it's a gray area with that stuff, guys. Now we're talking about houses in the chat. Boondock says, I'm aiming to have a third rental by 2025. It's been stressful, but stupid fun. Yeah, I stay away from real estate. I have a family member, a cousin, an uncle, very deep in real estate. They do multiple flips. They have rentals. And so I know that business pretty inside and out. They're both real estate agents, and now they've transferred into real estate investing and real estate flipping. So, and I've thought about it, but guys, here's the thing with real estate. Most real estate investors, they live poor most of their lives. What I mean by that is they constantly reinvest their profits or their income into new properties, or they'll fix up a property. So if they sell it, they'll fix it up, sell it, take those profits, and then buy a better property and continue to level up. Or they'll keep the rental, they'll fix it up, they'll get it reappraised. They will take out the excess, right? They'll reappraise it. They'll take out the excess money that it's worth to pay themselves, and they'll keep rinsing and repeating that, putting more and more renters in, and they never actually see that money, right? They keep using that money to pay off those houses. And so for the next 15, 20, 25, 30 years of their life, they basically kind of live poor, for lack of a better term. And then eventually at the end of their lives, then they start selling off, or maybe their houses start getting paid off, and they start getting all that income, and then they start living like they're rich. So it really depends on what kind of lifestyle you want to have. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of work. You put in a lot of years to really start seeing those returns. But it can be worth it in the long run. There's just a lot of other things. There's passive investments out there in the stock market and Pokemon and other things where you just don't have to do all that work, have all that stress, and wait all that time to actually be able to have money to live with. So it's half one, half dozen another. It's really just what works for your lifestyle and what your goals are. Do some people in here really not contribute to retirement outside of Pokemon? I hope to God it isn't true. I hope to God if they are, they have employer match. I mean, if you're contributing to a 401k without employer match, what's the benefit? I don't know. Tax advantage is it. If you have employer match, 100% employer match, now we're talking free money. Cabal's going to be pissed. Well, the Cabal already hates me, and I doubt any of them watch my channel anymore. So we're fine there. We're good. Hey, Alex, you going to invite chat into a live again? Yeah, let's do that again. Absolutely. One of those like anyone can come in and talk. Yeah, I will definitely do that in the future. We'll do it on a night stream so more people can be involved. I will do one of those again. You know, again, you guys know my feelings. I'm not a fan of Jake Pokenomics, but shout out to him for that. That was a great idea that he had doing those call-in shows, letting everyone from the community come in and give their take, and more than just a chat. It's a face on a screen. You're actually able to talk. It's a great idea. I mean, hats off to him. And so, yeah, I'm definitely stealing that idea from him, but it's a good idea. And so, yeah, we'll definitely do that more in the future. It's so hard to sell your sealed collection. You can cash in and out of and swipe of a button in S&P. Having trouble figuring out how to sell my entire sealed collection right now. Yeah, it definitely takes time. Yep, 100%. I agree. You're trading, you know, more gains for more work. It's, you know, it is what it is. However, let me go back to this one more time. I know I keep going back and forth. I'm sorry, guys. I do want to show this, though. However, right, it all goes back to, are you getting an employer match? Because here's what you would have without an employer match over the past 10 years, okay? With no employer match, with just compounding interest, you'd have $7,234, okay? With Pokemon, with that same 10 years, the same amount of investment, you'd have $23,289. And then after you know, taking your shipping and fees out, you'd have $16,000. So you could definitely here, I'll be a buyer. If you want to sell me your collection at 70% of what it's worth, okay? So let me get my calculator on my phone out real quick, okay? So you can go to pretty much any investor or sale or store out there, say, I'm going to sell you everything for 70%. So $16,056. Oh, sorry. That's fees already. You got to take the big number. A lot of people will give you 70% of market price. Okay, so market price, $23,289 times 70% would be $16,300. You could literally go and sell it for $16,300. Okay, and then we subtract out your original investment of $3,745, you're left with $12,550. So you could offload your entire collection to a store or an online seller or just a reseller for 70%, profit have $12,500 profit, or with a 401k or mutual fund or S&P with no employer match, Berkshire Hathaway fund, no employer match, you'd only have $7,000. You'd still be $5,000 ahead, almost double what you'd make in just a regular fund over the past 10 years. So I don't 100% agree with you can't just easily sell all your sealed product. I promise you, I could give you a list of names right now. I guarantee a lot of people would buy your stuff for 70%. Promise you. I would. Hit me up. We'll agree on the market price of your collection. I'll pay you 70%. Now I'll make the money. So it can be easy to get out of stuff. Guys, this is just numbers. Anyone can do this. It's not shown enough. And so people get they get brainwashed, for lack of a better word, into thinking that this isn't a good investment. You can't make as much money as you can in traditional investments. It's the brainwashing of what we've had in this hobby. We got to break ourselves out of it and just go by the numbers, not people's opinions. Let's see. What are your thoughts on uprising costs for sugar commodity and its affiliation with the Gaza war? How does this impact the chart? Our UBC and the ticket prices for Dave & Buster's redemptions. Yes. Oh, I gotta love it, man. Hey, Mr. Walrus, man. This guy's he's outdoing you in the comments lately. Irvy is the new Mr. Walrus comments. Love it, man. Thanks for sharing that. Agreed. You invest in a 401k. Just put your entire future on modern boxes. What could go wrong? Let's see. I cut 401k, still getting the match, but I wanted the money to buy a fancy embroidery machine. Was it worth it? I mean, here's the thing. I just showed you the numbers. Like, I get putting enough in a 401k to get the match. So if you're matched up to 3, 4, 5, 6%, put 6% in. But like anything above that, you're basically, getting crushed by Pokemon gains. So again, make your own decision. I'm just showing the numbers. Just showing the numbers. Alex, I'm new to your channel. I'm a new creator. Just hit 300 subscribers. Hey, congratulations, PokeDad. Thanks for all the wisdom and great content. I appreciate that, man. Congrats on the channel. Everyone who's watching this, check out PokeDad. Maybe he's got some content you like as well, and help him grow his channel. I love hearing it. Let's see. As a tax professional, Poke Department Store has come out as a tax professional, everyone. I hate cryptos. Oh, crypto forms to file. It sucks. The firm I work for changed more to file crypto. That sucks, man. Sorry to hear that. Too late argument happens a lot with the S&P 500 too. It's dangerous for sure, especially betting against the growth of human innovation and output. Yeah, it's never too late to invest, in my opinion. Video titles like this make me think we haven't hit the bottom. Hey, it's YouTube, man. You gotta have the thumbnails. You gotta have the titles to get the clicks. I try to never have clickbait. I try to always make it about the subject. But I mean, look, we can talk about the future all we want. You can talk about Pokemon's going to fall off. It's going to crash. It's going to continue to trend down. It's never going to recover. There'll never be another boom. You can say that as much as you want, right? But at the end of the day, we can talk our heads off at each other and yell at each other all day. It's not going to change a single thing. We don't know the future. All we can look at is the past and current situation. That's what these numbers are. So, judging by the numbers, Pokemon has outperformed traditional investments in the past 10 years. Will it continue? That's up for discussion. I get you. But you can't deny what has and is happening. Taylor, been watching for a bit now. First time commenting. Keep up the good work. Hey, thanks a lot, Taylor. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching the channel. Fat Belly, how do I keep mine behind paywalls? I show more on YouTube than in Patreon. Well, that's what you're telling us, but we don't know. We don't know, Dan. You certainly keep something behind that paywall. I'm definitely not betting against growth of human innovation and output. However, I am betting against the government not raising taxes on corporations for debt payment. Do you have any trouble with liquidity in Pokemon as compared to traditional investments? Define trouble, right? No, it's not like click a button, sell. Again, if you're wanting to take under market value, you can basically click a button, sell. Just click the button, email any one of the multiple resellers out there and say, hey, I want to sell all this for 70%. And I promise you, just copy and paste that message to like 10 different resellers. I promise you multiple of them will get back with you and they will buy your investment at 70%. Just telling you. So in that terms, it's very liquid. In terms of you want to get absolute full market price, yeah, you might have to sit on things a little while. But for me, I can only talk in terms of what I've been experiencing. Things are selling very well. Not too long ago, I had almost 200 items on eBay, and they were all listed at market price. And now I have like 50. So I've sold like almost 150 items or something, or 130, 140 in the past month and a half, 2 months. I'm waiting on more PSA orders. And so stuff's churning and burning. Stuff is moving. Modern is liquid. But it just depends on what you have, and it depends on how much money you're looking for. If everything's selling at like $95, $100, $105 and you want $120 for your item, you're going to sit on it for a long time waiting for the market to hit that. It's kind of like if you're wanting to sell a stock and it's trading at, 35 a share and 35.01 a share, and you put in a sell order at, 36, you might not hit that day or the next day or the next week. I mean, it just depends on how that stock trades. So, but yeah, if you want to sell at or under market, usually sells pretty quickly. You can look at pretty much any modern booster boxes. They sell daily, multiple a day. I mean, weekly, monthly, like there's tons of product that moves every single day. So odds are if you put your product at the lowest listed on the market, it's getting snatched up. It's pretty liquid. Now, if you're, a vintage holder, the cabal, that stuff isn't very liquid. I will agree with that. Look into writing covered calls. Yeah. If you want to pull cash out without triggering capital gains on your equities, assuming it is more or less the same as the US and Canada. Yeah, I don't mess around with the options too much. I know what you're talking about. It assigns a time limit is the problem with covered calls, right? So it's like, I don't want to have a time limit on my investments because the time, so much can happen in the world. And so when you're using calls or put options, depending on how far out you go, there's still a time limit on when you have to, exercise the option, have the money, whatever it may be. And so I'm kind of out on options. Okay, although you can do very well with options, you can use them very strategically. You can use them to hedge your positions. I'm not against options. No financial advice here. No trading advice, no market advice. That's just what I don't do or do myself. Do, right? Don't forget who turned you on to Charizard UPCs. Yes, everyone. Dan turned me on to Charizard UPCs. Hey, Dan, don't forget all the content you were making before I came on YouTube. Don't forget how recently you've been making a lot more pro modern sealed inventory or investing content, man. Just remember that as well, man. I mean, back then you were a year and a half ago, you were balls deep into the whole cabal mindset. I've seen you change your mindset. You've said word for word, I don't ever recommend anyone go back after a product has risen in value and buy into it over retail price. But you've been doing that with Sword and Shield, haven't you? I'm just saying. So we've both had our gives and takes with each other. All right. Did you really quit your job? I did. Don't read too far into that. My financial situation is different than a lot of people's. I have other forms of income. My wife has a great job. We don't have kids. We don't have a lot of expenses. I just didn't like where I was at. And so I left. I could end up getting another job next year, but it's one of those things where I couldn't see being there anymore. Hated it. I don't need to be there. So I left, and I don't want to get a job before the holidays. I don't want to be trying to work on, through Thanksgiving or around Christmas or New Year's and all that BS. So I just figured, hey, if this doesn't work out for me, I can find a job next year in, January, February, March, April, whenever I decide this isn't working or it is working. So it's not like I didn't plan on this. I didn't plan, okay, I'm ready to go full-time Pokemon. It was just one of those things where it's like, you know what? Screw you guys. I don't need this. I don't need to be here. So that's where I'm at. That's the truth. How much is he behind in the comments? What is this? 1259? It's 140. Oh, geez. Oh my gosh. You guys are killing me. I'm like 40 minutes behind, 45 minutes behind the comments. All right, guys. Everyone who's left a comment right now since 1 o'clock, leave it again. I am going to skim through these very quickly. If I miss your comment, copy and paste, leave it again, and I will get to it. But I want to try to get back. I'm going to try to get up to speed because this is crazy. I'm so far behind. Hold on. Sorry for anyone that I missed your comment. Okay. Let's see. I appreciate all of you being here, commenting. I want to get caught up a little bit. This is crazy how far I am behind. Shakazazula. Keep in mind, you're using two of the most black swan events in history ever to occur in the financial system, rivaling 08. He's using unmanaged tracking during an outlier event. It really skews the data. All right, we can say that again and again. There's been no events in the past 2 years, and all Sword Shield era continues to rise, though. I mean, we're seeing movements in XY in like the 20, 30, 40, 50% range in the past 3 months when we're told this is a bear market. Like we can't continue to use the boom excuse forever. The truth is the boom brought millions of people into this market, but guess what? A lot of them stayed. And a lot of them have money, and a lot of them continue to buy things again and again. So, guys, I mean, you're going to have people using the big boom excuse for the next 10 years saying, Pokemon's going to crash. And, eventually you're going to have to give that up. I find it hard to believe Hard to buy Pokemon. Everyone wants 75% of value for their collection. I find it hard to buy Pokemon. Hard to buy Pokemon. Everyone wants 75% of that. I don't know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say people won't give that? They absolutely will. I mean, I could probably give you a list of names. I mean, Dan's in here. Dan will probably give you that for your collection. Maybe not, but I mean, other people will. Like, it's not hard to get 70% of your collection because, I mean, let's say it's 100 grand, right? You get 70 grand. That person, and they might have like deals on eBay. They might pay less fees, whatever it may be, but that person's going to pay somewhere around 13% plus shipping. They're going to make like $10,000 plus flipping that. Like, they're going to make a 10% cash flow on that. I mean, so it's like, or 10% profit on that cash flow. So it's like, it just makes sense for people who are doing this full time. So it should be pretty easy to find a 70% or 75%. Man, some might be able to find 75% too. PokeSun's in here. What is going on? I think Lost Origin will do very well long term. I do as well. Hey, Pokemon John's in here too. What's going on, my man? I got back into the hobby and started my job at the same time. Pokemon is outpacing my job, retirement investing. That after sold a good portion of my collection. That's hilarious, man. Thanks for sharing. Welcome to the Nomics Academy. Notebooks and pencils required to enter the classroom. What's up, Pokemon TCG? Thanks for being here, man. Guys, I'm just going to scroll through this stuff. A lot of people talking about the CGC stuff during this time. Okay, I was back when I mentioned that. All right. I get it. Guys, repost your comments if I didn't get them. I am just scrolling up to the end. Okay. So it looks like we had another Alejandro super chat. Like, this dude is top tier channel supporter, man. I really appreciate you, man. How has early retirement been, Alex? Early retirement. I feel like I'm probably going to be working more now than I was with my job, unfortunately. But no, it's been good. I haven't done a lot yet. Me and my wife, I was watching my parents' house for them. I was watching their animals. We just got back today. I got a few other things to do. So it'll probably be a few more days for the work. You're really going to see the content get amped up and pumped out. I'm going to go all across every platform, you know, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I'm really going to try to really grow things and bring back the box break. So we are going to see things really uptick. I'm going to set up the studio, get that all professional. But yeah, it's a little slow start. Just give me a second. Just give me a minute. So it's been nice though. All right. I'm up to an hour for, all right, up to 140, almost live. Let's see what people are saying. All right. Just put all your money in a casino. You have 50% chance to outperform any investment. Absolutely, right? And you have fun doing it. At least Dan shares some of his day-to-day on his channel. PK just talks about the money he makes and his crazy how market is. So we're not attacking PK, but that's a good point. I am going, when I get some of my PSA returns back, PSA return videos don't do well on YouTube. So that's why I don't do them. But I am going to take I am going to take one of them and I'm going to actually show you every card I purchased, because no one, even Dan, you show a lot, but I'm going to break it all down and show you how this actually works. Okay. I'm going to show you every single that I purchased, every single that I got of those cards that weren't gradable, that I flipped back onto the market, and what I got from those. So how much I lost, right? I'm going to show you every single card, every 8, every 9 that you get at PSA, show you how much you get for those, every 10 you get. And we're going to break down every single play and what profits you'll actually make, because that's a problem. And this is not picking on PK. It's a lot of people do this. Is they always talk about the gains or the winners. No one ever talks about the losers. No one ever talks about the singles they had to flip back on the market that weren't gradable. No one talks about all the 8s and 9s they had to take losses on or break even on. No one talks about all the work they had to put in. No one talks about the sell-through rate, how long it takes to sell through all those items to actually start seeing those profits. No one goes through all the in-depth. Like some, Dan, I know you show numbers and you show your spreadsheets on, how well like the Celebration Charizard did or whatever, but it still doesn't tell the whole story. Like, tell us exactly how many of those you bought, exactly how long it took to sell them, exactly how many weren't gradable, how long it took to sell those, what the actual losses were on those, or profits, the actual 8s, the 9s, the 10s, go all through every single thing, and then do that for every single play in a whole PSA order. How much the PSA order cost to grade, how long it took, how shipping, the fees, like everything in between. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to show I'm going to pull back the veil, because it's just the whole story, the whole truth isn't shown enough in this hobby. And it gives an inaccurate view of like how easy it is or how much participation trophies PSA cards are. It gives an inaccurate view of how hard it is to actually become, profitable, and how much those profits are, because it's not as easy as some people make it sound. And it's not all, sunshine and rainbows. That's the truth. I mean, go to these PSA conventions or these Collecticon conventions. Look at how many tables have a bargain bin of PSA or CGC slabs they're trying to sell for 15 or 20 bucks. Guess what those were? Those were losses. Those were misses. Those were ones that didn't get those participation trophy 10s. That's all I'm saying. Not all sunshine and rainbows. Okay, Dylan's talking about the covered calls. 2 to 3% additional gains is never worth selling your ability to buy and hold when ish goes wrong. Yeah, I mean, I don't mess with options, so I'm out on that discussion. Quitting your job is an amazing feeling. It really is, especially when you know you're like good, right? Like, all I'm really missing out on is I have less money to invest each month. We have less money to like go out to eat or go do things with, like. But as far as like our bills, our lifestyle, like what we're going to eat, like all that, we're 100% more than covered each month. Like we make easily enough for all that stuff. And so it's really great. It is a great feeling, like having no responsibility, not answering to anyone anymore. And, knowing that you still have enough to cover your bills and everything. It's very freeing and relaxing. It's stress-free, The real strategy is half-ass your job until you're fired. That's what most of America does. What is that called? Quiet quitting? They're calling that quiet quitting now. I'm just going to be a quiet quitter. As long as you read the comments from the same people in every video, it's okay. Dude, I'm reading every comment I see. Don't do that to me. I am not skipping over anyone's comments purposely. I will read anyone's comment. I'm not, even people if I don't like in the community that hate me, that want to come on my channel, leave comments. I'll read their comment. I won't delete it. I won't ban them. Like, I read every comment I can. Do you think Sword and Shield sets will get a reprint to move the SV? I don't think so, but I have no like information. I have no like insider information. But from what I've heard, there's no news of that yet. I mean, Crown Zenith is the last Sword and Shield set that's about to get a reprint. That's probably going to be moving out of Sword and Shield, because now we're going to be base set, Paldea, Obsidian, 151, Paradox Rift. I mean, we're 5 sets in Scarlet and Violet now. I doubt they're going to go back in the middle of Sword and Shield years later and start reprinting stuff. But you never know. Never know. Protein powder or anabolic steroids? Stick with the protein powder, my man. Hi, Alex. Don't get to watch when you're live often, but wanted to watch the majority of your lives and videos. Just wanted to say I love the content and made most of my plays using your advice. That's awesome, man. Thanks. I'm glad you're able to make it. And thanks for taking the time to watch these live streams afterwards. I appreciate that. Hell yeah, I would love to see it. Watch out, Pokey Rev. Pokey Rev. He's like the top of a whole Pokemon hobby. Doubt he even knows my name. I showed behind the paywall on 99 Celebration Charizards. Right. Did you show everything though, Dan? Like I watched that video and I don't. Did you show exactly what? I mean, you showed what like the 10s and stuff. Did you show what the single sold for? Like exactly what you paid, how many 8s, 9s, and 10s you got, what each one of those sold for, exactly what the profit was after all that? Like, I feel like it was like most of the truth, but not like the whole entire encompassing, like every purchase, every sale, every exact profit, right? After fees, shipping, all that. Like, that's what I was more asking for. Again, and maybe you did. Like, from what I remember, though, it was like, 90% of everything. It wasn't like the whole kit and caboodle. And maybe like, again, a lot of people don't like to, release everything. They like to keep some stuff secretive. And that's what my channel's for. Like, I am not going to keep anything secretive. I'm going to release it all. So everything, my whole experience through this hobby, doing this full time, you're going to see it all. You're going to see what works, what doesn't work. And I'm not going to hold anything back. I'm not going to make unrealistic expectations. It's going to be real. Also, Alex, I wasn't using the boom. I'm talking about market conditions and performance due to COVID. That is why what is skewing your 10 years of data set in your favor. It's not a data point you can rely on. Again, opinions. These are just opinions. It's like, what if something else happens next year? And then we're going to have a bunch of excuses on the next 5-10 years of, well, Pokemon's only doing well because now this happened or that happened. It's like, guys, all we can take is what has happened, what is happening. Like, we can't play that game. We could play it forever, right? We could play that game forever. I mean, the same thing happened in the stock market. The stock market saw an incredible rise during COVID. Like, can we not take those gains as realistic data points too? I mean, we can't play that game forever, guys. You can show it all, and it's never enough. I don't know about that. People only get upset at people that spend money on paywalls when see the sauce on YouTube, so you're good. No, I'm not upset. No. Okay, you can go back to a Pokenomics live stream. It was Pokenomics, Pokemon Knowledge, PK, and someone else, Mini Basic Trainer, and they were having a discussion about paywalls. And I was 100% in that chat in favor of paywalls. I was coming out against anyone who was, upset at anyone for having a paywall. I am pro paywall. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong with you charging for your knowledge and expertise and experience that you've acquired in any related field, or the entertainment value, or, giving people just an outlet to support you, support the work you're putting in, because obviously YouTube doesn't pay anything. There's nothing wrong with that. So I have nothing against hiding anything behind a paywall. It is what it is. I'm just saying, like, Dan or others, he said that Dan came out and said, hey, I showed a free paywall version of what I did. I just don't think it was completely everything. Like, was it what every single, so like, say you buy 100 singles, how many of them did you grade, right? So did you grade 90 of them? Well, what happened to the other 10? Did, this many get a 10, this get a 9, this get 8? What happened to each one of those other ones? How long did it take to sell all of them? What was the actual price you sold them at? How much gains did you have? Are any of them still sitting in inventory? Like, every step of the way, how long did everything take? Because I just think people get an unrealistic view of how easy everything is when it's not as easy as it's made out to be a lot of the time. That's all it is. Nothing against anyone's paywall. I think the main stigma of paywalls is people trying to be buddies with the creator. I don't see anything wrong with supporting someone you like. No, there's not. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, last one. Dude, Alejandro, you're the man. Well, have you thought about streaming on Twitch or something? I have. At the same time as YouTube, would it be good on your end, I think, growth-wise? I have thought about doing that. I like Twitch because, like, these donations you're giving, I like how you can set them up with, like, the text-to-speech stuff, and you can have, like, the different voices, yelling at you and stuff. I've watched a lot of Twitch. I love Twitch's platform for live streaming so much more than YouTube. I'm going to try to find a way to transfer a lot of the audience over there for the live streams. So we're going to see how that works out. I don't know how people are going to feel about that, but I have thought about that. I do want to do that in the future because it's just a better live stream platform. It just is what it is. YouTube hasn't done a good job integrating some of the things that Twitch has, I don't think. But thanks again, Alejandro. I appreciate all the super chats, man. I only pay for paywalls to be friends with Dan. He still hates me. The day these damn PokeTubers actually go shirtless and show it all, I'll be convinced people like Dan and Nostalgianomics actually care. Hot tub stream? Are we going to do that'll be the first Twitch stream. It'll be a shirtless hot tub stream. Oh, geez. Ponga, Walrus, what do you guys think? Next Collecticon? Hot tub stream in the hotel? Live stream it? I think it has to be done. Dan, you can get involved in this? Oh, man. That came off a little gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. All right, real question here. Would you say Pokemon Center ETBs are a good investment for Scarlet and Violet? As I was thinking of getting one of each, but obviously it's pricey commitment. So they're a great investment, in my opinion, at Pokemon Center pricing. Every single Pokemon Center ETB in history is all higher than what they sold for. Buying into them after the fact at the inflated values It's not that they can't rise in value, but it's depending on the price point. It depends. That's a hard question. I don't know about that. They are limited. They are collectible. They are sought after. They do sell. The Scarlet Violet ones do have that exclusive stamp promo, which could hold value. I just don't know 100%. So it just depends. But if you can find them at Pokemon Center pricing at the $59 or $49, $59, yeah, $59. I do. So that tells you anything. I buy at those prices. Between the ropes, and then would you say your level of risk adversity is high? I have a high level of risk. I've talked about it before. I used to day trade pretty heavily. When I say heavily, I've had 5-figure gains and 5-figure losses in a day. And so I will always take the risk. Like, I just quit my job, right? I'm one of those people where I'll try, 100 different things, because if one of them works out and it works out well, it's more worth it to me than just being, just doing something you hate, or just being average and just, sitting in one place and doing something for the next 40 years of your life just to say you can have a boring, comfortable retirement. That's just not my style. Now, that may be perfect for others. People who need consistency, who want comfort. They might want to stay at a job for 40 years, maybe join a union, have guaranteed raises, have a guaranteed job, have a pension, a 401k, whatever it may be. And they know they're set when they hit 55, 60 years old. They never got to work again, and they never got to worry about money. That's great. For me, I'm a risk taker. So yeah, I have a high level of risk tolerance. I've started multiple businesses. I've sold multiple businesses. So yeah. I heard you chickened out of old card shops. Ponga's address the allegations. What? I heard you chickened out. You mean the live stream? He never invited me. I didn't get invited to the live stream. Old card shop invited me to a live stream right before I went on vacation. And I said I'd do it. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that to you right before vacation. We'll do it another time. And I haven't heard back from him since. So no, I didn't chicken out. Like, dude, those guys like Ray and who was it? Was it Swami and was it you, Aris, or was it who was on that stream? Like, it was no one that I have issues with, like, or no one that's going to attack me. I don't think so. But no, I'm open to talk with anyone live, man. I got nothing to hide. I've got everything. Every opinion I have is based on facts and data, and so that's what I stand behind. I don't stand behind opinions. And so I'm always open to discuss or debate anyone. How long do you hold cards on average before selling? I mean, some of these XY slabs have only held 2, 3, 4 months. Some of the PC ETBs I'll sell right at release just to recoup some of my money and hold the rest at, free, zero cost basis. Some stuff I'll hold 5+ years. It just depends. It really just depends on if the card gets, or the item gets to the gang you want, and then also if you can use that money elsewhere in a better way. Dream TCG. What's yours and everyone else's favorite type of content to consume regarding Pokemon? I seem to have an inclination towards the investment portion and a bit of pack openings. Man, I don't watch a ton of Pokemon content anymore. I watch a lot of investing content, a lot of like entrepreneurial business type content. I do watch some Pokemon content. I watch just some entertainment, like conspiracy theory type content. I'm into that stuff. I know you can laugh at me. Although a lot of the conspiracy theories over the past, 10 so years, a lot of them have proven very true. So I'm kind of all over the board. But I guess in the Pokemon space, yeah, it's probably more market investing content than anything. When I started the hobby, 2015, 16, it was all pack openings. It was Dariums, it was Leonhart, it was Unlisted Leaf, it was a little what's his name? Gosh dang it, what's his name? He was a big channel back then. Primetime Pokemon, although I didn't get into him as much. I usually watched him just to kind of see some items if other people didn't have them. But yeah, I was one of those guys. I watched all pack opening. I probably like Dariums the most because they were the most chill, just cool talk, hung out. They weren't like the flashy for the kids type guys. But yeah, I used to watch that stuff. Nowadays, I I really don't watch any pack openings, honestly. Unless it's like a new product and I can't like find exactly what's in it. I'll watch an opening just to see exactly what comes in that product. But that's about it. Phantom X Mods. I work in real estate. Mentioned I sell Pokemon cards at a company dinner. 3 brokers afterwards asked me what I could do with $10K over a year. Long story short, there was $30K now in a bank account. Dude, there's definitely people out there. I know I've talked with people too that want to invest money, like, you know, with me and with others. And they have the money, they make great money, they got tons of money, and they just want to put it somewhere where they can outpace the S&P and outpace other investments. I haven't taken any money, but yeah, that definitely happens. People, and I also know people that are putting tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars into cardboard, whether it be Pokemon and sports cards. It's out there. The big money is moving into the stuff, whether you like it or not. It is no longer, you know, Mr., you know, nerd, collector boy, anime fan, you know, hobby. I mean, it's still that. You know, there's still a lot of people who just love the hobby. There's a lot of very real investors with very real money now, though. I'm telling you that. And people always say, well, that's going to destroy the hobby. No, it's not. Because investors, they don't get rattled, right? They don't. True investors with large pockets, big, deep pockets, they don't like worry about the whims of the market. So if things are trending down, they don't dump their positions. Or when things skyrocket, they don't dump their positions and crash the market. They move their positions slowly, right? They do it smart. Whereas people who don't have a lot of money or collectors, or they're the ones that can crash the market because like they get scared and they get spooked and they got to dump everything right now. And so it's actually more, it keeps the hobby and the markets a lot more level than if people who didn't have those kind of funds do it. So, you know, there's actually benefits to having investors in a hobby. Man struggles to make thumbnails and he included your logo only to ghost him. I'd block you too, Ponga. Okay. It wasn't me. It was Ponga you were talking about that didn't go to Old Card Shop's live stream. That makes sense. How funny. I can't release all the brother. Sure way to get more hate. Transparency is appreciated, but it's how people get canceled. That's fine. You can cancel me. I can't get more canceled. I've been canceled off so many channels and, you know, live or you know, platforms and the discussion platforms. I don't care. Discords, whatever it may be. I don't care anymore. I got my channel. I'm staying in my own lane. If people in this hobby don't want to, you know, don't want to talk about me, don't want to talk with me, or don't want to include me, I don't give a crap. I just don't give a crap anymore. This hobby's so broad. There's so many people to talk to. Guys, you don't need to be in the club. You don't need to be in the cabal. I like the paywall. Dan asked for free favors, so very little value. How funny. I just think the more platforms, the better as far as growth. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I'm going to expand into, you know, more TikTok, Instagram, probably Twitch and things like that. For sure. I agree. Now that I have the time to do so. Watsy box opening in the hot tub. That is where it's at. That's truly happening. Let's see. Sir Amanda, do you think regular Scarlet Violet ETBs could perform way better than Sword and Shield ETBs? I think the promo and the ninth pack could make it worth it. It's possible, but I'm just not an ETB fan, but I stick to booster boxes. What's the difference between saying a CGC 10 are low because the market is always right, but saying PSA 9s because you think they're undervalued? Doesn't say the same apply to CGC. I didn't say they were undervalued. Who said that? I said CGC 10s are almost as much as PSA 9s. I didn't say they're undervalued. You misheard me. I said you can crack the CGC 10s and try to get a PSA 10. Yeah, you misheard me there. I'm not saying anything's over or undervalued. I'm just saying CGC 10s are ending where they're ending consistently at auction. That's the value of them. That's all the market wants to pay. That's all the hobby values them at. It just is what it is. No one's wrong or right. I mean, people saying that's wrong is wrong, obviously, but it just is what it is. Yeah, I got that, Walrus. Thanks. Jimbo Size, I watch a bunch of Pokemon investing channels, and yours is one of the best. I like the numbers and evidence. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Long time ago, but yes, my comment about taking such little income at retirement was in reference to Dan. Wonder how he plans on doing that when so many say you'll need much to retire with costs. Yeah, I don't know. Dan, I'm sure Dan's going to be just fine. He's got a lot of money in Pokemon and a lot of money in the markets. He has a low cost lifestyle. Dan's just fine, guys. Let's see. I'm trying to find the last few comments on here. It's been about 2 hours. I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. I appreciate all you guys sticking with me during the middle of the day like this. I will have more night streams. I know a lot of people can't make it during the day. Yep, Alex, I am diving into Twitch and TikTok. Have to set it up with TikTok account. Twitch is all set now. Awesome to hear, Pokemart. No, you've said some PSA 9s are undervalued. Oh, you mean like with the XY stuff? Well, yeah, I mean, that's not in reference to that's in reference to me thinking like saying like I see where you're coming from, but that's in reference to me saying that there's going to be a large amount of the community that want these XY cards in the future, right? So like undervalued as an investment, not saying that like whatever a PSA 9, if a PSA 9, XY Fates Collide Alakazam sells right now for $120. I'm not saying, that's irrational. That's undervalued. I'm saying like it's undervalued for the future. Now, if you're trying to say you want to make the bet that a CGC 10 card is undervalued and CGC is going to get more, more respected and it's going to become worth more over time because of that. Okay, you can make that bet. What I'm saying is saying that anything right now, what it's selling for at the market is kind of irrational. I don't believe that. Like an XY PSA 9, it's not irrationally low because it's undervalued. It's just that it hasn't had the time for the market to sell out enough of those, for people to realize how scarce they are, for the interest to make it back there, for it to grow over time. So like, I would never complain that something that's sold right now is irrationally low. I would just say, okay, it needs more time, or needs more of the supply needs to disappear type thing. So I hope that kind of clears up what I meant by that. Have you thought about collaborating and talking with Pokey Oz? I know who that is. Haven't reached out to him though, and I haven't been reached out by him yet. But yeah, I'm open to anything. Love both of your inputs on investing. Yeah, absolutely. I'd definitely be down for that. If you're in contact with him, give him a shout out. Tell him to reach out. Love to do a video with him. I don't see myself ever buying a CGC slab. They are an eyesore in my collection. If I ever acquire one, somehow I get rid of them. I see myself continuing to buy CGC slabs and do exactly what is meant to be with CGC slabs. And that is crack them, destroy them, and take that card and put it in a PSA case where it's actually worth something. When you start buying, can you let us know what you're buying at that time? Yeah, I can always do that for sure. Guys, it's really just all over. It's really anything I can find where I can find a PSA 10 candidate card. I buy it and grade it. Pokey Oz and Pika Papa NN podcast would be top tier anti-cabal content. Yeah, I have reached out to him. I've reached out to Pika Papa before vacation. I never got back in contact. I will do that. Maybe I will have all of them on. We'll have a big, maybe I'll get like a fourth too. We'll have a old fashioned, 4 people live, or maybe just them two. Yeah, I will definitely work that out in the future. I do want to talk to those guys. Do you think card savers and top loaders will boom again? Should I invest in sealed top loaders? Only if it's PSA 10 quality. Make sure that seal is tight. It's the same thing to say CGC prices are because market is right now, not for PSA 9s. It's not the same though, Waller. It's like to say a CGC 10 should be valued higher because it's a 10. That's not the same as saying a PSA 9 is a good long-term investment. I feel it's undervalued because it has a low supply, whatever it may be. Like to say a CGC 10 is just undervalued because people are being irrational with their mindset about CGC or negative on CGC. I don't agree with that, man. I just think CGC is a low tier collectible. I mean, the cabal and a lot of YouTubers tried to push it CGC paid off a lot of YouTubers trying to get them to market for them. It didn't work. The market is speaking I mean, in this current time, the market has spoken. People don't want it. You can't make people like something just because you like it or other people that you know like it. You cannot force the market to like something the market doesn't like. You can say the labels look better, the case is clear, they grade more fair, they get it back faster. Like, you can say whatever you want, but the market doesn't feel that way. You can't just yell and scream and say the market's irrational or complain about the people or, that doesn't work that way. The people don't like it. It just is what it is. Have you ever thought about doing a collab with these guys called Ponga? Guy is cute and cool. Ponga, tell them the truth. I've invited you on the channel. I'm still waiting for you. You said you had to get a camera, and that was like, I don't know, over a month ago. Still waiting on the reply, my dude. Yeah, Walrus, Ponga has an open invite on the channel. I'm still waiting on him. With Dan too, that'll be hilarious. Walrus will likely be busy under his desk, so guess he may be. All right, too far, guys. We're not getting on Walrus like that. Ponga said now he's ready. Ponga, hit me up after this. We'll set it up, man. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the live. Make sure to always consult the numbers and not your feelings or your opinions or your emotions when investing in anything. And always consult with a professional financial advisor, tax advisor before making any investments. Don't invest just based on what you saw on some random Pokemon YouTubers videos. That's all I got. Hope to see y'all back here in a new video soon. Subscribe to the channel if you're not. And yeah, thanks for being with me in the middle of the day on Tuesday.